So Vertex Pharmaceuticals, they built an absolute empire on just a single disease. But now, they're right in the middle of this massive three-act transformation, and their goal is to conquer 10 more. We're going to dive into their latest earnings report to see just how this incredibly ambitious plan is actually playing out.
And that really is the big question here, isn't it? How do you go from being the undisputed best in the world at one thing to trying to dominate completely new fields? I mean, it is a huge, high-stakes pivot, and their success, or failure, really hinges on the answer.
Okay, so this slide really lays out the whole strategy in a nutshell. Vertex is in the process of transforming itself, moving from being the king of cystic fibrosis to becoming a truly diversified powerhouse, one that's taking on a whole new range of diseases. I love this analogy because it just nails the scale of what they're trying to do. They're not just, adding another floor to the building they already have. No way. They are using the profits and the expertise from that first skyscraper to build entirely new city blocks. And each one of those is a potential multi-billion-dollar franchise. All right, let's dive into Act 1. This is the foundation of everything, their cystic fibrosis or CF franchise. This isn't just their legacy, it's the financial engine that's powering this entire transformation. This number just says it all. Over 77,000 patients now rely on a Vertex therapy for cystic fibrosis. That patient base, which they've built over 2 decades, isn't just a medical success. It's the financial bedrock that's literally funding everything else we're about to talk about. And you know what? This engine is still growing. They're expanding their reach to younger and younger patients, pushing into new countries, and they're constantly improving their treatments. All of this keeps that foundational business incredibly strong. Okay, on to Act 2. This is where we see the real payoff from that foundation. The new drugs that are already on the market and are diversifying Vertex's revenue right now. First up, you've got Cas-JV. It's a one-time gene therapy for sickle cell disease. Now, it's a really complex process. And what this chart shows is that pipeline filling up. You can literally see patients moving along from starting the process to getting their cells collected and then finally to the infusion. Every single patient moving along this path is a huge step in building a whole new revenue stream.
Next is JOURNAVX, and this is a whole different ballgame. It's a non-opioid pain medication. Think about it. In the middle of a massive public health crisis around opioid addiction, a powerful, non-addictive alternative is an absolute game changer. So unlike the super specialized model for Cas-JV, this is a high-volume drug aimed at a massive, massive market. And wow, the market response was immediate, over 500,000 prescriptions in its very first year. That's not just a successful launch, that is a crystal clear signal of the huge demand for effective pain treatments that aren't opioids. And it's not just a few specialists either. The adoption has been incredibly broad. We're talking more than 35,000 individual prescribers, everything from surgeons to family doctors. That kind of widespread trust across the medical community is absolutely critical for a drug to reach blockbuster status. All right, let's look at Act 3, the future. So after establishing themselves in CF, in blood disorders, and now in pain, Vertex is making a huge bet on its next major frontier, a potential multi-billion-dollar franchise in kidney disease. I mean, you can't get much clearer than this, right? This is straight from the CEO. She is explicitly calling their renal pipeline a key engine for the next decade. They believe this new area could eventually be as big as their entire CF business. That is a massive, massive ambition. So their first big target in this new area is a disease called IgA nephropathy, or IgN for short. It's a progressive kidney disease, and it affects over 330,000 people in the US and Europe. And basically, it's where your body's own immune system starts attacking your kidneys by mistake. And this right here, this is their lead drug candidate. It's called povetacicept. And the key innovation here isn't just the science inside, it's the delivery system. By designing it as a simple, once-a-month, at-home injection, they're knocking down major barriers for patients and doctors. That might not sound like a big deal, but in a crowded market, that kind of patient convenience, it can be an absolute game changer. Okay, so we've seen the whole three-act play. A strong foundation, new launches that are firing on all cylinders, and a big bet on the future. But the real question is it translating to the bottom line? Let's check out the financial report card for the end of 2025. So how'd they do? The results were pretty solid, maybe a little mixed. They slightly missed on earnings per share, but they actually beat on revenue. So what that tells us is that the top-line growth is strong, and that's being driven by that super durable CF franchise and the new launches kicking in,
even while they're investing a ton of money in R&D. And you can see their confidence for the year ahead right here. They're projecting a jump from $12 billion to $13 billion in revenue. Now, what's really critical here is that a huge piece of that billion-dollar growth is expected to come from their new non-CF drugs. This is the proof that the diversification strategy is really starting to pay off.
So, you can see the story is really starting to come together. Let's finish up by looking at the key milestones coming up that are going to show us whether they can keep this momentum going.
And believe me, 2026 is going to be packed with huge make-or-break moments for them. In the first half of the year, we're all watching for the full regulatory submission for povetacicept. That's their official application for approval. Then, all through the year, we're expecting crucial data on another promising kidney drug, inaxaplin. The pace is clearly picking up, with major news expected all year long.
And that really brings us full circle, back to that core challenge. Vertex has absolutely nailed the first two acts of its story. The foundation is rock solid, and the new growth engines are coming online. The question for Act 3 is all about execution. Can they manage this incredible complexity and successfully navigate their own rapid growth? Well, that is the multi-billion-dollar question.